thanks to everyone for joining. Here we go. I was on a streaming hiatus last week. Took a bit of time off, so now I'm back. I'll be working on the comic book today, trying to get some pages done there, trying to finally get that 5th chapter over with. So since I last streamed, I have been making some headway. Here's some of the pages. So I think last time I was streaming, I had done this guy, and I think it was this page right here that I was doing. Okay, so I can't zoom out, but yeah, so it was these 2 pages. I finished them, and now I also put some gray tones on some of the pages as well. See, those squares that you see are actually corrections that I need to put on. So there we go. This guy and this guy. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to continue the gray tones today. I'm going to start with a quick warm up just for lines, or for the line thickness and steadiness. So just 5 to 10 minutes there just to get warmed up. So weird that it starts on this guy. Sure, I'll probably save. Saving's always a good idea. Okay, so the last time I did one of these warm-ups, I was having fun with some sort of like sci-fi cityscape, which was really cool. It took about like 15 minutes just to get the old paintbrush going. So let's go ahead and go right ahead and start. I always like putting the line blue, but as a layer effect, so that if ever I want to do something else with the drawing later down the line, I can just set that back down, turn off that layer effect, and it'll go back to being black, so that I can, sorry about that, so that I can just continue working on the drawing, just transferring it over to another medium, say photo bashing, concept art, stuff like that. So I think that I'll do the same kind of thing, maybe some sort of rocky surface. It's always good to start with bigger, broader lines with a thicker brush. It's just more forgiving, I would say. So it's just gonna be 5 minutes there just to get warmed up. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or want to know anything about the process there, do not hesitate to ask questions. All chat entries will show up there on the feed, and I'll be able to comment on them, so don't be shy. There we go. So right now I'm painting on Clip Studio. I'm not yet an affiliate, but might want to get that process going. So just to give you guys some deals if anybody wants to try it out. So already this rocky surface looking quite good. It's also something about like the practicing your rhythm too. Okay. Knowing when to stop. In other words. So here I can probably just bring the brush down a little bit. Start adding some sideways skyscrapers, kind of like we saw in Vulcan on the Star Trek reboot from 2009 already, so little ways down the line, unfortunately. I still remember going to see that movie when it came out. So what's cool also is to try to play with the the shape language and make sure that you can see right away that these are not rock formations. But they're buildings, so I think that Bob Ross's quote there kind of goes well with this kind of thing, where you want to make all of them feel individual, give them some personality, so that just to give some feeling to the painting. So as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble trying to get down what the buildings look like. Just figuring out a rough shape language that kind of works. So I think this works. Dark spikes here and there. Either some power coils or energy shafts. So these guys, I usually try to spend 5 to 10 minutes there, as long as it takes. Well, not as long as it takes, but try to get into the groove. Because if I start drawing without doing one of these, sometimes it's you know, it's playing with fate kind of thing. Because it can go just fine, and other times you can end up spending like 2 hours drawing, and you have to scrap the whole thing because it just doesn't fit, or it just isn't up to par. So, and it just lets you just work on other stuff. If you're working on a lot of contracts, or you know, in different stages of development for other projects, this just frees you up, and it makes sure that you don't forget the joy of painting. That's Bobby R would put it. So just, you know, it's important to keep having fun. That's why we do this kind of stuff. It's not to save the world, you know. So if you're not having fun doing it, don't do it. Go. Probably go smaller. Save it. Why not? So I'm just trying to add some shapes into the background to make sure that this feels like a kind of like a fleshed out world there. It might sound stupid, but it's important for immersion. For those, you know, those distinguishing shapes that you put onto your landscape, that they repeat somewhere in your drawing, to make sure that to immerse the viewer in the world that you're trying to create. Because or else, you know, that one cool shape will just look like a one-off, and it'll look more like a statue, or just, it won't engage the viewer and make them feel like they're looking at a world. So and even you see that there's like a curve here, a curve that I didn't quite repeat. So what if these were like spires? And it was like these floating rocks. love floating rocks, right? Everybody's been like a floating rock junkie since Avatar came out in 2009. Don't know what it is about 2009 today, but yeah, so that's looking pretty cool. Hey, thanks, Haf. Ouais, souvent le jeudi matin, comme ça. J'aime ça faire un peu de stream le jeudi matin, puis la fin de semaine, c'est du VR. So, like, during the week, work on the comic book like this, and then on the weekend, just to be able to relax even more, I switched to VR. So I think that's cool. Kind of nice. And just might add a little ship or something. Coming in through the atmosphere. Now, kind of conflicts with the whole thing. Though I do like these. Clouds. And so how about this ship thing? Just put it right here. Closer, maybe just a silhouette. There we go. As always, they're repeating shapes, just trying to have 2 or 3 of them. So, there we go. Pretty cool. Oh, software, it's Clip Studio Paint. So, c'est disponible. It is available as much on iOS as on PC. Puis, so iOS, c'est monthly, so it's a monthly membership. And on PC, it's like a flat out deal. So you pay like $100 if I'm not mistaken, like 99 Canadian, and you have it like forever. And it's I find it's actually quicker than Photoshop for a lot of things, except like photo manipulation. And ça coûte bien beaucoup moins à la machine, so it runs so much smoother, and you can draw with the vector lines. So that's really interesting too. So you can like draw a comic book page, for example, and then you can blow it up, bring it back down if you created your things on a vector layer. So that's pretty interesting. I don't want to continue this one. Yeah. So page 2, we're not going to be working on page 2. Let's just interesting. So it's page 2. Let's go page 1. Okay, panel 1. So in this page, our main character is just like reaching out to touch a wall, and then he kind of brushes off dust on it, and realizes that it's like a mirror and it's reflecting his own image, which makes this dude mad. So right now I'm just gonna make the mats for the main shapes. For this one, it's not too bad because it's only the hand the smoke pretty much on this page. I do have to start getting organized and do this off stream so that I can just log on and start drawing right away, because you know it's not the most interesting thing to look at. So. Yeah, so I've been using the software. I've been using it for about a year and a half professionally for the comic book, and I might have yeah, Photoshop does block the flow. It's too heavy on the machine, and there's just too much useless crap on it that can get in the way. This one, it's if you customize your interface and everything, you can really get it to work for you, and just filling stuff up. You can kind of like draw and have reference layers that you can just like select your line work for the reference layers, and then you just use the paint bucket, and you just fill in the shapes from those lines, but on a layer underneath. So that's like super useful when you're doing what we do. So yeah, and how are you finding your stand? I know that you bought a stand recently there. Is it working for you? There we go. So that's gonna be the hand. So new layer. Just lock that in with some pure whites. So that's gonna be the hand mat. And then I'm probably just gonna use the there we go. Oh, there's a wall in the foreground. So the wall is in the foreground as well. So I'm gonna use that on my mat too. For this. There we go. Bam. What's this? Well, what do you know? I already had a mat for the hand. Well, that's too bad. Cancel. So let's just delete this guy. Perfect. Okay. So now let's just work on those smoke lines. Oh no. What did I do? Okay, so just and always with the with Clip Studio, what's cool is that it's more like Procreate to do and undo. So it's one tap, two finger tap to undo, and then a 3-finger tap to redo, which saves so much time. Oh, nice. Yeah, ergonomics is really important when you're, when you work multiple hours on a drawing. Nice. Yeah. So you're working on a farewell drawing to the Dynamic Duo. I'm interested to see that, man. I bet you'll be posting it on IG when you're done. Did you finish that that other project you were working on? The album cover? I'm sorry there. I know I'm asking a lot of questions. Since this is on the background, don't want you to have to answer all the time. So I'll pipe down after this. So yeah, so I'm just working on the mats for the smoke. Which this page was really interesting to work on because the whole page is it's split into 3 panels, but I worked on it as if it was one drawing, just because there was so much overlap. And like Clip Studio Paint has an option to actually put comic book panels on your page, and for this one, I could have done it. It might have made the workflow cleaner, but I think it would have just gotten into my way because all the panels kind of meld together, and that was just a way to use the medium in a different way so that to read the page differently, and just so that the whole page really flows, because I don't know how much text there's actually going to be on this one. But yeah, Clip Studio Paint there, it's a really good grab. You should and you can also import Photoshop brushes into Clip Studio, so if ever we get together there on Zoom or something, I'll show you how. It's really simple. So that's almost done. Hopefully I'll be able to start painting soon. So it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I'm trying to fill in those shapes so that I can afterwards just paint into them. And these smoke lines should be really interesting to draw as well, because I'm going to be using the same technique that I was using when I was doing the sky in the previous pages, which turned out really nice. So it should be really fun, which was actually a Photoshop brush that I imported into Clip Studio Paint. So just put this to minus. So this should be good for the moment. For the first panel, let's go ahead and lock this in. Okay, and then you can lock the alpha, and then put some on the clipping mask so that I'm able to go ahead and hard elliptical, no thank you, flat layer. So the purpose of doing those mats is to be able to work like this afterwards. Oh, nice. Oh, congrats on finishing the project, man. Be interesting to see what it looks like. Finito. I also like to keep these gray tones kind of simple, because I do tend to soften them up a bit for the final page, because sometimes when the gray tone is just too harsh, it takes away from the ink drawing that I spent so much time on. So it's important to find that balance to make sure that the tones and everything that you're adding onto your line work really have a place and that makes sense. Because sometimes you can just end up looking too busy and you lose that simplicity that you had with the line work. So already I can see that I have some mistakes for my mat. So what I'm going to do is just unlock this layer, just color in the few lines that are missing. There we go. Select this guy right here. Nope. So it can be really delicate work sometimes. There we go. So even might go here and so that's going to be a soft shadow, so it's not going to be as hard. So, alright, so that's already done. Let's add another one, set it to clipping mask, put it underneath. this one doesn't have enough difference, so I might just go ahead and use this one. Yeah, that's good. That way it's just a simple two-tone gray work. Yeah, tone work. Tonal work. Look at it. That's cool. And then what I like to do for this one is have some scratchy. Looks like a scratchy texture. Because that's the only thing it really is supposed to be. So, perfect. So it's looking good. Let's go ahead and add some stuff on the shadows. So what I also like to do is to already have a background layer that I'm going to have a gradient on. That way I can see what tones. Okay, this one's okay, there we go. What tones I want for it. Okay. But I still should have that matte on it. Okay, sounds good. So as you can see, like the matte on this one really isn't clean. Sometimes it's just even better to go with the brush. It's also the danger of working with lines that aren't completely closed. You do kind of add some work for you later down the line. It just looks so dang cool. This is awful. Reduce the brush size. Song kind of makes me think of Figure, dubstep artist who used to do music way back when. I don't know if he still does any music. Haven't taken a step back from the music world. I usually just use it for workout purposes when I'm at the gym, which, by the way, the gyms opened up where I live in. They were closed due to COVID. They just reopened, and boy, they feel good to go back. Had been like 6 months or something. Way too long to go without the gym. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. Let's go right ahead and for this guy, and then I'm going to use it. I'm just going to add a gradient to the background, because that's what I'm going to use to make the tones of the smoke behind, kind of. Oh no, did I just lose all that I did? Yep. Okay, let's go see if it recovered some. So this is why it's important to save. Oh jeez. So this is the second time it happens. that's too bad. So I'll have to check their recovery options, because it should have some. Well, that's unexpected. Yeah, it didn't save at all. Oh boy. Okay, so, you know, it's always quicker the second time around. Just a PSA to save what you're doing, guys, when you're doing it. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Tablet, you failed me. Okay, so perfect. Let's yeah, it's always quicker the second time around. So let's just go right ahead and do it. So panel 1. So it's this guy right here. Okay, and I already had a matte. Let's actually, I had a black layer that I like to fill in when I'm doing my mats to make sure I'm doing a good job. That's actually how, you know, happy little accidents. You know, there is an autosave. It's every 10 minutes, and yes, sometimes it does make it crash. But, yeah, I don't know how that happens. Wait a second. So yeah, well there is an autosave, but there's no recovery option. So even if it autosaves it somewhere in the metaverse within the tablet, and then it's unrecoverable unless, you know, I'm too much of a dummy and I don't know where to look. But yeah, it actually happened last time. Oh, thanks, Jerka. It happened last time that I lost everything that I was working on. Last stream, I finished the stream, and then right before I saved, the whole thing crashed. So, that was pretty bad. Okay, so let's start with that. So yeah, as you can see, the math that I had already done before, actually, it was not too bad. So let me just fill in the blanks. For that, and then I can make sure that my smoke is looking good. I'm actually just gonna close these guys, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work smarter, not harder, and just go ahead and close up these smoke lines. So it's looking super crude for sure, but okay. Because sometimes I just end up trashing the smoke lines, but these ones are actually pretty well done, so I might just keep them. And then what you do is you just select outside of them. There we go, select outside of them. Inverse the selection, bam, and then create a new layer underneath. And there we go, there's the mat. Oh, yeah, dude, if you want to start drawing anime, I would say there are some really good channels. Well, you know, it might sound foolish, but it's always good to start with picking an artist that you like, and try to, not to imitate their style, but yeah, just pick out a drawing that you really like and just try to break it down into simple shapes. You know, you see it a lot into animation. They have these complex characters, and if they're broken down. Like say Mickey Mouse has those two spheres for the head, and then the one for the ears, and the one for the face, and just break down the characters that you like into those simple shapes, and then you try to recreate them from that. And you know, the more you draw, the more your personal style will kind of blossom out of the work that you put into it. Because a lot of people spend too much time looking for their own personal style, and your own personal style is not something that you look for. It's like something that just sprouts out of all the work that you've done. Like people think that, like say, an analogy I heard one time that was really cool. It's like people think that the style is the fire. It's what makes your work what it is, but it's the work that you put that helps you develop into the style that you have. So like the style is not the fire, it's the smoke of all the work that you've put into it. So that's how I like to think of it, and that's when I stopped thinking about personal style. So I wasn't afraid to, you know, copy stuff from other people, and it's just to help you grow. And then once you start drawing from actual life reference and using your visual library, then you can start to draw stuff. So yeah, just if you really like anime, then I would start by just drawing anime that other artists have done and inspiring yourself from that. Oh yeah, Raph, I did not know about that. Oh nice. Yeah, you know, I don't know if there's something like that on iOS. I should look into it, to be honest, because now I'm on my iPad Pro, so usually, you know, it's supposed to be kind of self-cleaning and it's not supposed to crash like that. So it's just some of life's surprises. So perfect. So the mats are done again. Let me just go ahead and rework those gray tones real quick. I know that on PC I had tree size, which shows you where the information isn't usually, like it's in temporary files or like backed up Windows updates, you know, that can save up like 20 gigs of space sometimes, so it's really helpful. Hey, no problem, Jerka. Yeah, I didn't mean for it to sound sentimental, but yeah, you know, this Bob Ross is one of my idols, so if I can get into some kind of groove and just talk about, you know, what it is to be an artist, that's great. And yeah, I'm on my iPad. I'm on my iPad Pro because streaming from the PC that I'm working on tends to take too much out of the machine. So I just rather work like, which is also why like I did a character concept at Jirka. Like I do have I modeled Diva in VR, and then I did a concept art with I painted over the 3D model, and I actually had to do that on Procreate, which, you know, Procreate has a lot of good stuff about it. It's not really made for concept art, so I'm probably going to pivot and try to use Clip Studio Paint this time, which will be a challenge there, considering that the photo manipulation tools aren't the best, but I'm pretty sure I can make it work. Yeah, see, so it's always quicker the second time around, and also, you know, it tends to look better. So already, I think I'm liking more what I'm doing now than what it was last time. So, finished one color, the hand, save it. Nice. Good to know. That's SEO working for me. yeah, apparently, yeah, Krita. Actually, you know, if you're for people who are getting into it too, there who don't want to put too much money, who are just trying out or trying to learn there, for you know, for people who aren't doing contracts, Krita apparently is really good. Affinity Paint, I haven't heard too much about it, but I think it's pretty pricey, right? Because I think it's actually from the same company that does ArtStation, which is what I use for Portfolio website. But yeah, so Jirka, over you. It could be a good idea to learn to look into Krita. But wow, that you found the stream by looking for Bob Ross. It just warms my heart. Okay, so that's one great tone. It's actually looking better than last time. So that's pretty cool. Hey, I'm totaled. How's it going? I think it's 50 USD. That's not too bad. Okay, Affinity Paint, yeah, because they have a whole suite of software, kind of like Adobe, but it's all by ArtStation. So, hey, thanks for also everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks to the people who just joined as well. Happy to have you here. I might have to fix up the chat too because it's disappearing a bit too quickly. So that'll be something to look into for next time. So one gray tone is down on the hand. Let's go to the one on the bottom. Yeah, but I know that, yeah, but Krita, as you were saying, Raph, it's that one's completely free, so I haven't tried it yet. Because for sure on Mac, the options are a bit less, there's a bit less options when you want to get into these types of programs, and you don't have too much, you know, you don't want to put too much money into it before paying for it. But I know that a lot of them have a free trial. Like I know that like Clip Studio, I think has like 3 months, has a 3-month trial period, or like a 3-month period where it's free. So you just enter in. Oh, thanks, man. I do regular streams. I try to do them regularly, like 2 to 3 times a week. So I do VR on the weekend. I do VR sculpting on Saturdays, which will probably be moved to Thursdays later down the line, like probably this summer. But yeah, so I do Saturday from 9 AM PST. So that's noon Eastern to 3 PM. So it's usually 2 to 3 hour streams. Okay, mic is a little low. Sorry about that. Sometimes the music is louder. Let me just fix that up. It's also not the best mic, so after a while, I'll probably look into getting, you know, an actual microphone and not use this Kraken microphone, not Cracker microphone. Okay, so I brought it down a little bit. Oh, thanks, Jirka, and thanks, Totaled, for the comment. Always fun to have some feedback there. Make sure that I'm not getting drowned out by the music. But yeah, for sure. Anytime you want to tune in there. The Monday or Tuesday streams are usually concept art, so I paint over the VR sculpt that I did the past weekend. And Thursdays it's the comic book. And yeah, Saturdays is the VR thing. So I try to keep it, you know, change it up from time to time. And you know, after a while too, I'll probably have some, maybe try to put out some videos that are more on specific subjects like anatomy, how I do gray tones, just how I generally do stuff on the tablet. So for those just tuning in too, I'm using Clip Studio on iPad. I really like this program. Some of might have seen too that it crashed on me at the beginning, so I'm gonna use Okay, perfect. I'll try to check that out, Blue Yeti, because yeah, I'll be wanting to, you know, invest a bit more. You know, even my camera, it's not the best, but it's like 720 720p, I think. So it's not even full HD, but you know, since it's just small in the corner, and what's really important is the screen capture. That one I'm probably just gonna leave as is. Perfect. So now we can get started. So save it. So there I have my gray tones on the hand. Oh yeah, crazy. Like you know, I went to animation school 10 years ago, but I wouldn't even have had to go, because you know, anything from tutorials, programs, you can all find out more about them or how to get them, like even on YouTube or Twitch. You know, everything, information is just so free now, and it's a really good time to get into it, because you know, there's so much you can learn for free, and it's quality content too, you know. So it's a really good time to be an aspiring artist, or you know, aspiring anything, musician. You know, After Effects, like the amount of, you know, I used to do a bit of After Effects, and the amount of stuff that you can find now about special effects is crazy, you know. Okay, so that must have been some smoke, but I think I'm gonna, you know, these white parts that are behind the smoke columns, I might erase some of them, because it's kind of confusing the eye. So this guy right here, remove some of that. And then yeah, so that can stay. I might even want to keep this like this and erase the line even. There we go. Perfect. So let's get to work. I have this guy here, which I'm going to fill in white, but then I'm going to put some gradients. So this is what made it crash. All right, thanks. See you when you tune back in. Thanks for stopping by. Jerka. So yeah, so now I saved it because it's these gradients that cost the iPad so much apparently and made it close. So just gonna lock in, or you know, probably just gonna do it on a clipping mask because it seems safer that way. But yeah, so Blue Yeti, I had never heard of that company before. I'll have to look into it. Of course, I'm just getting started, so you know, constantly learning. You know, streaming wise, I started in I think the last week of January. So I'm kind of liking that. Perfect. And now what I like to do for the smoke columns, like this, and then I take my my flat brush, my flat 11, trusty flat 11, and then make sure it's big enough. Okay, and then I just go and do this kind of stuff. And this is actually a brush that I imported from Photoshop to my tablet, to my iPad. Because I don't remember what I created it for, but as soon as I started using this for smoke, I was like, I'm not going to use it for anything else after this. It just goes so well, and I just love the shape and the curves it gives me. So yeah, so if there's enough interest too, I might put like a brush pack or something out there. If people want to look at them or study them. Or just have them to use for their own stuff too. You know, this is also why I sometimes end up scrapping the line work on these smoke columns, since that it's not necessary if I'm getting all this detail from this detail and shapes. So just a second, I'll mute myself. And then, oh, my channel on YouTube, it's Zach LD Art. So I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and Picarto, which is a artist streaming platform. So yeah, YouTube, it's Zach, ZACHLD Art, and you'll find everything there. And what's cool about that is that it stays, my videos stay there. Not like on Twitch, where unfortunately they, I don't know how I need to change those settings, but they leave the platform after like 2 weeks. So see now, since that line work is so cool, I'm having trouble adding in some gray tones. That makes sense. So. I know this guy who used to do oil paintings of just clouds, like just these giant oil canvases. And I always asked him, like, isn't it boring to just draw clouds? But man, it's I get it. I get it now. It's so calming. It's actually the writer of the comic book. So he kind of pivoted. See, so that's looking a bit busy. What I might do is, since the line work is so nice, I might just follow it and just black some stuff out. See, because if I use the background as a reference layer and then I go in, there we go. See, so that's like super useful. Because since there's a big, you know, element of detail with the hand, you don't want it to be the smoke to take too much away from it. So probably just even, you know, to create depth, just black out some of that, and probably do the same thing with this guy. Yeah, and then just go with the eraser and take off some of it, but not too much, because as you can see, since it's not the same brush shape as my flat 11, my trusty smoke brush, it's just doing these different lines and creating different shapes, which sometimes can throw it all out of whack, but it's working good. It's working good. Hey, salut Rémi. Ça fait un bout. Okay. So ça vient pas pire. It's getting pretty good. Let's just zoom out. You can see So I'm really liking how this is looking for the moment. And what I like to do as well is I take the smoke layer and then I add, no, not that. I add another clipping mask and then I'm just gonna go ahead and save, and I add some gradient inside that smoke just to make it less drying. Ok, t'es rendu où maintenant? Est-ce que t'es encore au Québec, Rémi? Are you still in Montreal? You know, I might actually like this. Désolé, je voulais pas te poser des questions personnelles en live de même. So I think this is looking cool. It's not taking too much away from the drawing, and we might have some trouble matching these two whites together, but yeah, so that's looking cool. Just gonna do the last smoke column on the side of the wall, and then I'll be ready to probably do it in the darker one. Okay. Thanks, man. Ouais, c'est le chapitre 5. It's the 5th chapter of the comic book. This must be like page in chronological order. Must be getting close to it's probably around page 100. Though there is one chapter that I had to skip for story reasons because it's still being written. So this must be like around the 80th page that I have completed. The comic book is going to be, the graphic novel itself will be around 150 pages, and we've been working at it for we've been working at it for a year now, officially. So hopefully September. Hey, thanks, Ulysse. Yeah, so it's looking pretty cool. Là, j'ai pas encore mis la texture. Ça en rajoute pas mal. No, just one gray tone in the smoke, or else it gets too busy. No, I think we're just gonna gray these out and have some texture on this one. I think that makes more sense. Oh. Des fois on perd la page comme ça. Best to save it real quick. Yeah, sometimes the only thing that's too bad with the tablets is that it sees your hand as another touch point. It'll just go like, and sorry for blowing into the mic there. And just blow the page out there. So this is looking really cool. Let's go right ahead and add some texture. So I start with the darker one. Now I lock the alphas of all the gray tones, and then I just go ahead with a texture brush that I imported from Photoshop again, and I just go ahead and soften some of the grays. So it's more important just to figure out where the soft edges and the hard edges are. Oh, I like this one. You have to know how to use the brush too, because sometimes it can look too hacky. So that's looking pretty cool. Then I use this guy. Do I want to paint the mat less than white? Maybe. So that I can use this guy to bring it back to that semi-white color. There we go, and then use this guy to unlock, and then go for a full white. Just to add that final bit of texture. And for this one, there we go. It's travail de moine indeed. Palm rejection, okay. C'est iPad Pro 2020. So iPad Pro 2020. I got it last September. Right before they, you know, the leaks started coming in that the, what is it, mini LEDs would be added to the tablets. So I got it either right in the nick of time or a little too early, depending on your opinion. But yeah, so this is looking cool. Let's go right ahead to the second panel. I'm just gonna mute myself real quick, take a sip of coffee because I made myself a full cup. Haven't drank some yet. It's always important to stay hydrated. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. Yeah, it's going well. Just finished this first panel, and hi Aeon, and there we go. Perfect. So let's get on to that second panel. It is going to be a bit more complicated because I do have a lot of smoke going in back of that hand. So, okay. It's a layer, but it's not the matte. So, I think I'm going to start with this hand. Okay, what's this matte for? So it's a BG smoke. Okay, so this is good. Go ahead and fix that mat up a little bit. You know, this is something I'll have to do before I get on stream. Okay. Hey, thanks guys. Well, yes and no. Professional artist is always, you know, a tricky term. This is an indie comic book that I'm doing with a writer, and supposed to release. We're aiming for September. Of course, you know, it's a flexible ETA because of the nature of both of our jobs. So I do have a side hustle, but you know, this is what I put most of my energy in, is art and just trying to stay ahead or with the curve, you know. There we go. So this mat's done. Let's go ahead and do one for the background dust. So I'm just gonna erase this guy. There we go. This one, and just bring the opacity down, just so I can go ahead and close those dust inking lines, so that I can just fill it up. You know, it's weird because I was sure I had palm rejection on this thing. I have to look into that. Oh, thanks, Bing Bong. Love the name. Eon as well. So yeah, but if any of you guys are interested there, I do have all my links on my Twitch channel for my ArtStation, my Facebook. There's not much on the Facebook for the moment. You know, I mostly post my stuff. Yes, yeah, so I have. I think I have links towards my YouTube too. So. Towards all my socials there on my Twitch channel, and I do have my ArtStation page where I have various you know, other completed pieces. I did a 3D sculpt of Rick and Morty, of Rick from Rick and Morty a while back, painted that over. Also did Snuffles, which was great. Is this panel 2? Okay. Then why can't I see? Disable this layer just so I can finish. So as you can see, it can be a pretty messy process sometimes, and sometimes when you don't cover your bases, when you're trying to draw it too quickly, and then you don't make sure to close your lines or close your shapes, you can be adding yourself work in the long run. So even like if I was going to go ahead and disable see this guy, I can see that this line here is enclosed. So what I might do is use this as a reference layer, go ahead and use the white, and then, oh wait, no, actually, it's going to be using the magic wand on the layer directly. Can't really use reference layers for this kind of thing, unfortunately. Okay, so there is one thing that I forgot to close up, so it's this guy. And this is a vector layer, so if I want afterwards, I can just go right ahead and erase the extra lines that I added, and it's going to be super simple. There we go. Select those guys. This one. Interesting. So the wall lines were added with that. Okay, you know the rest I can just add it with the lasso. I don't know. Okay, that's why I didn't go through. So alright, add it like this. Oh yeah, inversed. So yeah, so for the moment I'm more of an enthusiast than an actual professional, but I do really enjoy VR sculpting, concept art, comic books, comic book art, you know. But yeah, so mostly I do some contracts as well, mostly, you know, for the past year, my big contract has been this comic book, which is good because it's not every artist that has a chance to get paid for an indie comic book. So I'm really lucky to have that chance. So, there we go. So that mat is done. It's looking pretty good. Go back to this mat layer, fill it in. So then what I might do is, you know, do the the background floor layer. I might just go right ahead and do a mat for that as well. Because no, that's gonna be black and white. So yeah, so there is this kind of thing where the gray tones have been consciously fading out from page to page, so the contrast has been becoming starker and starker, and then when he wipes this off, and then we're seeing his reflection, that'll be only black and white. There won't be any gray tones, so fill this wisp in. So effectively, like, the only thing that'll have some gray tones on it is those wisps and that hand, which I'm really proud of. Okay, great. So let's get started. So another thing, always name your layers when you're getting to you know, 50, 60 layer documents. It's just really hard to keep track, and you don't want to lose time just keeping track of your layers. So it might seem time consuming and useless at first, but it's time that you're saving in the long run. There we go. Probably just make this a bit smaller. Get started on this hand. I forgot to put it as a clipping mask to the mat. That's the whole reason why you do these mats. So there we go. So if anybody has any questions there or comments, don't hesitate on the process, on the various stages of these pages, start to finish, or if you have any like recommendations or what you guys would like to see. You know, next time will probably be actual inking or penciling. Because I know that these gray tones are the most interesting thing to watch. Oh, how long have I been drawing for? I am, this is gonna hurt. I am close to 30 now, so I'm 29, freshly turned 29, and I would say I've been drawing for, you know, over 20 years. And I started working on the computer, I would say around 2005. So I've been working digitally, been doing digital art for close to 15 years now. I used to do Photoshop, I did some Flash, I did a lot of animation also. I used to work at in Flash games, which you know, before the the industry collapsed. So yeah, so you know, I've been drawing generally for close to 25 years, and digitally for 15. I sold my first digital print at an expo, which was kind of neat because it was the only digital print there, and it was selling for as much as the other traditional artwork, and it was one of the 3 pieces that got sold, which, you know, is always fun when that happens. Of course, it was like the only edition of the print that was and will ever be printed. It's actually the latest ArtStation post that I made. So it's this these kind of creatures coming down from a red moon and walking through the sea and arriving on the sea bank. It was a collaboration I did with a childhood friend. He sketched out some creatures traditionally, and then I kind of mashed them up, and I created this kind of horror sci-fi scene with them, which was actually working off of his composition that he had made. So it was a really fun give and take on that, and I would really love to get back on it with that artist, or, you know, any type of collaborative art is yeah, that's true, Raph. It's you know, it's just a number, indeed. That's what my girlfriend keeps telling me. Just doesn't sink in. Oh, jeez. Still hurts, though. So see, there's this really weird thing going on with this knuckle. The middle knuckle might just be the yeah, the shadow on this guy. This hand is looking fit. Jeez, look at that. Which is weird considering it was drawn off of a reference photo I took of mine. My hand doesn't look this nice. I can tell you that. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and work on those dust wisps on the background. No, new layer. This. And since it's I probably do want to kind of fill it in too, where it's closer to those fingers, so it's not as distracting. See, so already, well, it's not good. Okay, and save. It's been a while since I saved. Hey, welcome back, Jerka. So you didn't miss too much. I finished the panel on top. Now I'm doing this one. So shoot. Okay, so I drew some lines in here to close in the shape, and now I just want to erase those ones. Another fun thing about drawing vector layers is that you just pass your brush on any side of the line and it'll erase everything past. Okay, so between the two points of contact. So that's always fun. That's always useful. So panel 1. So I'm going to have to marry the gray tones between both of these smoke columns. So just I'm gonna have to keep that in mind while I'm drawing. So thanks for everyone who's tuning in. Happy to have some visitors. If you guys have any questions or comments, or anything you want to talk about, feel free. So that's the problem when when the line work is too good. You can't add too much gray, or it's gonna ruin it. So, thanks, man. Well, I'm just getting started, so I don't do it for the subs. I just do it for the fun of it. For now, until I get sponsors and stuff like that. Maybe that'll change, but for now, this is actually stuff I do on my own, alone. So I was on the computer and doing this anyway, so I was like, oh, why not start streaming and maybe get people talking and just get the comic book out there, and so that people could see the process and how I do the VR sculpting and these comic book pages. When the wisps interlock like this too, like to keep the gray simple, especially when they touch, just to create an illusion of depth within them, just so they don't get mashed up together. Sometimes also less is more, so. Trying to make these smoke lines kind of flow organically. It's not really smoke, it's more dust. Okay, so come along pretty well. Oh, yeah, lately I've been playing a lot of, a lot of Population 1 on my Quest 2, and I've been a long time Overwatch fan, so I played it on PC since it was released. I played the alpha and the beta, and then I bought it there as soon as it was released, and I recently got it on my Switch. Well, I bought a Switch to be able to play Overwatch. What about you? And if it was related to streaming, I don't stream any games for the moment. Mostly do it, mostly art stuff. So I'm happy with how this is looking. Go ahead and remove this guy. And then I just want to marry the gray tone that's on the smoke. So take the gradient, save. Very important to save. Eraser, clean up this because we're seeing behind it. Interesting. Okay, there we go. So, I'm just gonna go and marry those gray tones between both smoke columns on either panel. So, just making sure I have the right one selected. So, go on this guy, get a new one. Just try to marry it. See, so already. If I want to go crazy, yeah, it is weird for someone younger like you, but it's funny because I was just reading. I started listening to Ready Player One, the audiobook, which is an amazing read. It's way different than the movie. I quite enjoyed the movie, but you know, the book is really interesting too, and it has a lot of retro. Like, instead of being about the movies, about past movies, everything in the book is related to old school Atari and like 16-bit, 18-bit games. So you might like that if you're into sci-fi and books. It's always good to be into books. You know, even though I'm not that much into books, but it's always good to read. And yeah, cool. I will be honest, I'm not too much of the retro game buff, but I did enjoy them. But you know, most retro I've ever played must be like Mario Kart on old Nintendo platforms. So just give me a minute. I'll take a sip and sip of coffee, sip of water, and I'll be back. Yeah, well, if you know, for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if that was your thing, you'd probably enjoy Ready Player One. You know, it's got some mature themes, but it's I quite enjoyed the book. There we go. So I can lock the alpha of these two guys, and then start and deepening the gray tones, adding some depth to the gray tones with my trusty texture brush. Yeah, it was I never read the book, but I did see the movie. I really should. I have the book. I have the book in my apartment, but I really should get to reading it. And it's become so ingrained into pop culture. Just that 42 thing. It's hilarious. I even had an idea for a comic book that kind of is inspired by some of the passages in that book. But that'll be, later down the line. The plan was actually to work on personal comic books on the stream if ever what I was working on for the graphic novel was getting too spoilery. So, I might be working on it later down the line. We'll just have to see. So I'm liking how that hand is looking. Let's just go right ahead and add some white on top of that semi-white that I did. So it doesn't really show. It probably doesn't even show on the stream. But, so that's looking pretty cool. We'll just go ahead and fade in some pure white there. Oh, I never, wow, pretty new of me. I didn't even know Forrest Gump was a book before being a movie. I really love Zemeckis' movie. Robert Zemeckis. He's one of my favorite directors there. He's the one who did Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. I haven't seen his latest one with Steve Carell. It seemed a bit weird, but yeah. Okay, so the second panel is pretty much complete. I might actually go ahead and add some gray onto that wall, because the reading is a bit difficult. So just the way it reads, it's kind of a weird thing because it has a very clear line. Yeah, let me just go ahead and... Oh, sorry about that. How do I want to do this? So usually this is something, drawing this type of thing is very organic, so I'll finish like a complete page and then just go ahead and erase some stuff that I spent a lot of time doing just because it doesn't fit, the image in question after a while. Like we're coming close to the end of the stream, so I'll probably just show some examples of that afterwards. Okay, so you can't really see that it's a wall though now, can you? So yeah, I think that helped. It's just less jarring. Oh, and another thing that might be interesting is to add some sort of, kind of like if there's like a sheen, because this is a reflection, so I might just add some sort of shine on it so that you can see that it has like a reflective texture. So I'm going to go behind those wisps and then just okay, that's not what I want. I want this select this. Okay, new layer, of course. Won't work if I'm doing it on a layer that's been disabled. Yeah, so this is going to require some work. So I do want to marry those grays between both lines, but then what I can do is do this, use the flat brush. Okay, it's on white, that's why. Oh, I'm gonna have to use my eraser. Okay. So. And this shine will also serve as a double purpose because it will help the reading, because the way the page reads, it's really just like a whole zigzag through, so this kind of shine might help, might not even stay, you know. Technically, it should also be passing on top of the character. Or on top of the line work, so. I'm gonna have to take this guy. Let's see. No, what I'm gonna do is actually. Okay. Yeah, so this reflection effect will probably need some work. But, you know, I might put this on top of the background though. Nope, no, not there. Just on top of that background. Nope. There we go. Interesting. Oh, I'll just leave it like that then. Okay, so 12.5. And then what I like to do too, just to hammer it home, these are the wisps. This is the front reflection. So just add a layer and set it to probably vivid light. Save it. And then just go ahead and add some circular shine. Yeah, just to hammer it home that it's a reflection. Okay, that's going on top of the dust. We don't want that. But yeah, and if I was doing a really good job, I might we go. Oh no, set to minus, so just select the bottom. So that's cool. So add a new one. Okay, so that means that I can save it again. Hi, thanks, GF. Yeah, so ouais, it's looking good. It's looking good. Pas mal content de la page jusqu'à date. C'est du temps de plus à ajouter ces tones gris là. It's like an added time to add those gray tones, but it really adds stuff to the drawing. Go put it. No, so now I'm putting gradients onto the mask. I don't want to do that. See, so now you can really see that he's like brushing it off, and it's a reflection. So pretty sweet, pretty sweet. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So I can put this on add, and then interesting. So, you know, of course it's a work in progress, so I have this kind of like really visible line right here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue working on that gradient. There we go. So there was this really like stark line across the page. So I think I'm finally done. Panel 2. Now we'll just have to see what the writer says. Yeah, so just so I'm gonna save this, and just as an example to see you know, how sometimes I have to roll back the changes that I make. So I save this guy. Let's exit. So there was so if I go back to my inks, having a lot of trouble finding, you know, that's what happens with Google Drive. Once you have too much stuff on it, it's just impossible to find stuff. So that's not cool. So if I go to chapter 5 and then I look at the inks for, see like this page right here, I really liked the line work that had been done and everything. And then I went ahead and did some grays. And I liked the effect that it was giving. But there's something just really wasn't working. So what I ended up doing is just pulling back the gray tones on the whole page, just so that it took less away from the line work. And also it works because there's kind of a gradation in the comic book where these gray tones kind of gently get pulled back until it becomes completely. So yeah, so this is, you know, before. It's like the inks, and then before, and then after. And same thing had happened for the page there where the guy's staring into the wall. It's like the gray tones were just really harsh. They were taking a lot away from the art. And, ouf. Croquis à l'ancrage là. Je te dirais. C'est un bon. Dépendamment de comment la page est compliquée. It's at least like from like storyboard to penciling to inking, that's a good like 4 to 5 hours at least. And then you get to the gray tones, and you know, as you can see, I've been streaming for like close to 2 hours, and I did 2 panels, so it's another like 3 hours. So you know, it's almost, it's between 5 and 10 hours a page. C'est 5 à 10 heures par page. If I'm just inking them, it's going to be a 5 to 7 hours. So, you know, that's why as much as possible. You know, I try not to go too crazy with these gray tones, but sometimes I just like how it looks too much, and then I end up spending like a ton of time doing it. So yeah, so same thing for this last panel here. Since we're seeing like the reflection, I want the difference to be that like when it's reflected, it's almost only. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I tried to, you know, I've always been a very quick drawer, and sometimes it's worked to my detriment. Sometimes it really works for me. But yeah, it's important, you know, to not get bogged down sometimes by the detail, and just to stay confident, just to stay confident in what you're doing, so that you don't spend too much time worrying. You know, do I keep this in? Do I take it out? You know, you really have to. It's, you know, it's just like it's not exactly like tattoo artists, but sometimes I like to compare it. You know, because tattoo artists they draw it a couple times, but when they do that final drawing, that's it. You know, or like when you're inking with a brush, traditionally, once you put in that final line, you can't go back. So sometimes I just try to have that kind of mindset, and try to be less afraid of what I'm putting on the page, and to trust the process. So I'm not trying to sound too corny here, but yeah, it's important to trust yourself. You know, I'm sure Bobby R would agree. Yeah, so this one should actually be pretty simple. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some reflection, some like stronger white reflection on a vivid light layer. You know, just so you know that this is a mirror or a reflective surface. So. Sorry, it's starting to have trouble. Let's just go ahead and save the page. So when I was doing this final panel, it was really, I wanted to have that kind of effect of, you know, in those horror movies or those thrillers, when the character kind of looks at himself in the mirror and it just shatters glass. That's kind of what I wanted the effect to be. So I think it worked. there we go. So that's looking pretty cool. Might add some a little bit of like some round shines there, just to add something to it. Wait, wow, already 12:17. Time sure flies by when you're having fun. So. Oh, I'm adding this on the same layer as the reflections. I don't want to do that. So these light pinks, I want them on a different layer, and I want to keep that layer at 100. Put on vivid light, which is kind of like if there's light shining directly into a camera lens, it kind of it's the same effect. So, and you really don't want to overuse these because it can start looking real tacky. Now, arguably, it already is. So, and that would be on top of everything. And so, copy, paste. There we go. So I think that's looking pretty cool. So I'm happy I was able to, you know, more or less pretty much complete the page. There will be maybe some modifications to do, just try to tone back those gray tones. You know, I might do that right now. So it's that first panel. You know, the hand is looking great, but the grays are taking too much away from that that hand. There's a lot of work that was put into those hands, and I just hate to lose it inside of gray tones. So what you want to do then is just, you know, I didn't want to do it that badly. Save it. Always important to save. And then, because that wall is looking nice. That smoke too. So just a hand. Plot that in there. Like this. And then you know, just so that the line work kind of shines through more. So I think that's cool. I might put another one. So, you know, this is a real, like, adjustment process. Like this. Just a normal layer. Like that. See, so I just toned it down. Oh. A little bit. Because I really like that brushwork I did underneath the fingers, so it just keeps that intact. And then I'm probably going to add another one. On this smoke. On this smoke as well in the background. So just select the whole thing. But then I have to be careful because I did marry the tones of those two smoke lines. So I'm probably just going to use a gradient and gradient from the top to the bottom so that it gets darker the farther down the page it goes. Okay, put it back to rectangular. See, in this one, I'll leave it on overlay. Yeah, I think that's cooler. Okay, so already, you know, just those small changes. You know, I might actually leave it like that, or I think that's good. This hand on the second panel. So I think that's looking cooler. Perfect. So let's go ahead and save that. And like another example with like the grays being really well done, and it doesn't take away from the page because it's a very like it really worked for it. So it's this guy right here, this page right here, and I really loved what those gray tones added to the final product. So I thought I was able to, you know, make it so we didn't see the comments, but yeah. So I find that especially on the superhero guy right here, those gray tones are really worked to add something to the drawing. But, yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. So you know, just for comparison, we went from nope, not this. That was actually a crypto wallet app. Getting into the NFT market. It should be pretty interesting. So, for comparison, we went from this page right here to this guy. So, very happy with the results because you know it added some without removing too much from the inking. So, yeah. So the next one I'll be working on this one right here. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to rework this this mat here. Mats are like the full shape. There we go. That's used to fill in with color afterwards. It's just some digital art lingo. So yeah, so this is the next one I'm gonna be working on, and you know, probably have some more inking to do. I think I can probably give you guys a sneak peek. The next one, I've got the ink. I think it's this one here. It's a bit hard to read because of the nature of the page. So it's gonna be this one. And I have this one. So this one's gonna be really fun to do. So, merci man. Fait plaisir. Merci à toi. So I'll be here. So yeah. So this one's gonna be really cool to do. I'm really excited for this one. It's actually coming on the end of the chapter. This is page 15 and 16, and the chapter is gonna be. Well, if the writer has its way, it's 20 pages long. If I have my way, it's going to be 18 pages. So we'll just have to see that. So, yeah, next week, I don't think I changed anything. Next week I'll be inking this one live next Thursday. Alright, so thank you to all for joining. This weekend I'll be, you know, I haven't found what I wanted to sculpt yet. So what I might do is I might pose and export. I might do some posing on the sculpt I did 2 weekends ago, the Sentinel. I might do some posing, export some frames, and then try to create some concept art or key art for like this type of X-Men movie, this action sequence with a Sentinel blasting through a building, and there's like some silhouetted X-Men figures in the foreground. Try to jump onto the Sentinel. So you know, that's what I got planned. If I can't find something else to sculpt. If you have any recommendations or like you know, if anything you'd like to see me sculpt this weekend, feel free to just send it. You know, put it on a comment, send it pretty much on my community page on YouTube or Facebook or you know, anywhere. So all right, thanks everyone for joining. I was really happy to have you guys with me. Next week I'll be inking this page. So all right, and probably finish on what I did today. So. Perfect. Thank you to everyone for joining. So have a good day. Salut Raph, à bientôt. Where's the stop button? Alright. Have a good day everyone.